see. Is this all working? Good. Okay. Let's ink this thing. Whoops. I'll probably be on for, I don't know, maybe an hour or however long it takes to do this. What am I doing here? This here. Okay. So you can see it. Okay. I think I'll just do this part. Am I on? Wait, let me see if my sound on. Should be on. Hold on. Okay. Wait, let me just check something else. Okay, it's on. Just need to be sure. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Start right here. I wonder if anybody will come by. I doubt it. Usually people will come by later and they'll just, whatever. They'll watch it and fast forward through it. That's all right. See. Just checking up on something. I don't have anything playing in the background. I don't know. I find that for me, not having anything playing in the background actually makes me focus a little better. It's almost like a meditation. Of sorts. If I knew how to do this streaming stuff better, I would have something playing on the screen alongside me drawing. then I'd be distracted. It's very meditative. This. It's probably because I do a lot of meditating, so. I think I might need a light on. Can't see. Let's see what that does. Okay. Much better. I can see what I'm doing. Anybody wondering, this will be for sale when it's finished, if you're interested in buying it. All you gotta do is contact me through my X account, and then we can work something out. Or if you want me to draw you something completely different, like a commission, I'll do that too. Again, just contact me through my X, and then we'll talk. Everything I do is for sale. So. Oh yeah, did his head beforehand. I couldn't help myself, as always. I always do that. I don't know why I do that. If you're wondering, I'm using a, see if you can get that on screen, a Sakura Pigma Sensei 03. They're the same as the Sakura 02s. Same nib width and yeah, same ink and all that. And Prismacolor 3. It's all beat up. Prismacolor 3. And maybe I'll use this Tombow. Is it the firm nib? The hard nib? Which I really don't use a lot. I use the soft one more. I don't know why. It's probably because it feels more like a real brush. It's that give. Everything's going fine. I'm just checking out the stream. That's all. Making sure nothing weird's going on. You know. I'll use the 3 for, you know, like wide lines and stuff, and 4 like outlines, just to thicken some lines up. If it warrants it. Anybody else who be watching this, either they come into the stream now or a little later, or they watch this in replay, you'll notice I have a thumbnail on there, and yeah, and if you like that sort of thing, you know, you can give me suggestions on who I can put up the next time if you want. So probably thinking, like, what does that have to do with what you're drawing? Well, it doesn't. It's just to get your attention. And I hope it worked. Let me see how this looks on screen. It usually looks different on stream than it does on paper. Damn here. Up, go down. With that variety of line widths. That's usually something I don't see from guys in this space. The variety of line. That's what makes your picture pop off the page. It's what turns your two-dimensional character into a three-dimensional one. Even for standard standard cartoon art, cartooning. Not like this, but like Peanuts. That stuff. Variation of line makes your characters and your environment look like it's actually there. And that's what people should learn. Anyway. And I also see, there's another gripe. I'll see guys not being able to control their what do you call it? Their touch. Some guys are very heavy-handed. And you'll notice I'm not. That's how I'm able to get these types of lines. I know when to press down hard, and I know when to press light. And that's what gives you that variation of line. Oh, Omar's here. Hey. Oops. Okay, there you go. Omar's here. Omar has a channel, and he does live streams. He does them better than me. And he's on a few times a week, but he has a big show on Wednesday, and it's him and some other dudes, and they just sit around. It's like a what do you call it? An Algonquin group type of thing, and they talk about stuff, all drawing and all that others. So I've never been on the show. Maybe one day I will. But yeah, that's his thing. Check him out. Yep. The feather touch, that's what gives you the variation of line. I'm not pressing down hard. Because you don't have to. You have to trust your pen too. Let me see here. What is he saying now? It's a bunch of old hens. Oh, yeah, your show. Old hens jibber jabbering. Yeah. Yeah, they are of the older set. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't tune in. I'll occasionally will show up and chat to say something stupid or whatever. Yeah, if I were to ever go on that show, I don't know if I would do very well on it. I tend to be very opinionated. I'm very different. Well, thank you. Yeah, you've offered me that invitation before. Yeah, I gotta find out. My schedule is kind of But one day it will happen. It will happen. So, oh wait, I seen something. I will be on that show, on your show. It's not like I'm avoiding. I'm not. I will. See how that looks. No. No. Nobody. That's the thing. You showed the thing I did for you, which I think, I personally think I could have done better. So I'll look back at stuff and like, oh God, I could have done better. Because, when was it? Maybe a week ago, I looked at it because I have a picture of it. And I go, I could have done better. And then I looked at something in a sketchbook and I go, I could have did his thing with this. I don't know, but next time. But yeah, you talk about the thing I did, and you mentioned my X account, and there's stuff on there, and silence. It's like I don't know. I don't know. Um, do I scare people or do I mean it's you mentioned it before. It's affordable. I didn't charge you an arm and a leg because that's unrealistic to do that because you're a small creator. I'm a small creator. If I was a big creator, I would I would have a big asking price, but I would, for someone like you, I would reduce it. Or if you had the money, whatever. But I don't know. I think I wrote something. No, I wrote something on X talking about this thing, and I said that I can give you $1,000 worth with $100, something like that. You just pay $100 and you get $1,000 worth of quality. Yeah, I don't know. I think if okay, I'm gonna be honest with you here. I look at some of these guys' campaigns, and I look at some of the stuff they offer. Like the alternate covers and some of the extras, and I go, I could do better than that. How come you're not asking me to do you something? I can do you something as good as this. I'm not gonna go all. Is that the thing too? Because this is very mature adult art. Is that the thing? Are they afraid that I'll only do porn, sex, violence, gore shit, or which isn't true? I mean, I've done live streams where I've done normal stuff, just just normal stuff, and stuff like this too. So I don't know. Oh, good. Well, the gun I made up. Well, you don't have to do all that. Yeah, well, some people do. Some people like the adult stuff. Again, it's just to their taste. You see, let's say someone wants something like this done. Let's say someone's doing a horror comic, and they want something like this, or something with gore, which there's gore here, or they want something a little bit more less gruesome. They just want like a ghoul. I'll do that for them. It's this is purely for myself. You know, if I were to do a book, which I want to do, which I'm actually doing right now, this is what you're going to get. But for somebody else, it's their thing. They say I don't want this, I want that, or I want this, I want plenty of. It's according to them, and they can go to the X and they'll see what I can do. I don't know why they. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, you can talk to those guys if you want, but I'm glad you promote the channel because I can't do it by myself. No one can, and I know my content's not the best. I like it to be. exciting. One day it will be. If I get to figure out how to do this, I'll make it more interesting. Well, sure. That's the thing. You just mentioned it. Ultra conservatives. That's the thing. I'm not ultra conservative. I'm not even a conservative. I'm what you would consider a classical liberal. That's the thing. I'm not like those lunatics that you see. What you, those lefties. I can get along with. That's the thing. Yes, maybe it is. I don't know. But I understand where they're coming from. They don't want. But then there's some that do. I don't I don't know. I do have fun, and I do say funny shit. Well, if it comes to me, I'll say something funny. But yeah, I don't know. But I do want to come on your show one day. Just not now. Couldn't come on with this. I have to come up with something. I'll figure it out. Let's see. Look. And my stuff's for sale too. That's the thing too. All of it. Everything I've done so far online is for sale. I'll keep mentioning that. Because I don't know what else to do with it. I'll pull it out and I'll look at it. Like, it just takes up space, I guess. So that's another thing. This will be up for sale if anybody wants it. You can see it. I know. I know. I mean, yeah. The smut. The smut. You mean the porn? But it's not. Lord Almighty. It's really. I don't know why. You know, those guys. I'm not talking about specifically about the guys who you have on your show, but a lot of those in that sphere grew up on comic books that were mature. Guaranteed they all read Alien vs. Predator, the Alien comics, the Predator comics. They've read The Crow. They've read Faust or seen any of these comics. They've read uh, any type of off they or any of the mainstream stuff. There's a lot of mainstream stuff that's very mature and has violent stuff, sexy stuff in it, but it's not too much. So it's very it's almost hypocritical, you know. And let's be honest here, a lot of those guys, they want to see stuff like this. They like the gore, they like the violence, they like the sex, they like that stuff. They won't admit to you in person. Yeah, they oh, I like Superman and I like Batman and I'm gonna go see the new Superman movie. I like this and I love the X-Men, you know, and I do too. But you know what? You know, sometimes you get bored of that stuff and you want something a little harder. It happens to us all. I just don't want it's I just don't want to drink Coke. I want to put something in that Coke. I want to put some rum in that Coke. You know? Yes. Yeah. Comics for the most part were for young boys, young men. They'd made comics for girls too, but it was like sparingly. The romance comics and whatever else. But girls read comics to an extent, but for the most part, comics were for young boys, young men, and that's where you have the the overly sexualized women and the over masculinated men. It's the men are something for the boys to achieve to become, and then the women are, of course, something they would achieve they would hope to get when they're older. And the girl comics, like the romance comics, you go look at those old comics from the 50s going into the 60s. They're very realistic looking, and they're almost like soap operas. The men are not overly exaggerated, the women are not overly exaggerated, but they're glamorized. So yeah, a lot of girls won't be reading like Gore Shriek or anything like that. But I don't understand, sex and violence. That's what sells. I mean, let's be honest, that's what sells. You look at horror movies for the past few years. Biggest horror movie to come out in the last few years was Terrifier 3, Terrifier 2, Terrifier 3. Ultra gore movies. There's no sex in those things. There's very little nudity. It's all just rampaging death and destruction. Very popular movies. People went to go see them, not just men. Women went to go see them too. And all the in the sex stuff too. Sexy movies. I remember when what was that movie? There was a movie that came out long ago called Secretary. It's basically a hardcore porn movie without the hardcore porn. Very popular movie. Or Showgirls. I remember when that came out. Again, it's a hardcore porn movie without the hardcore porn. Or Striptease. Very popular movies about, they're highly sexualized movies. And you look at the comics people read. You don't have to have hardcore sex in them. Just have attractive women in them and they'll sell. Look at or certain artists who specialize in all that stuff. J. Scott Campbell and Jim Lee and uh, Liefeld. And look at how they draw women. You don't think that was a selling point? Of course. And then you look at the European artists. Look at how they draw women. And Judas Priest, where do you think the American artists got it from? And come on. And you look at all the TV shows, and it's something innate within all of us. It's something. It's weird. We want to see extreme violence, but we don't want to do it. We just want to see it. And the sex, it's some of us would experience some of that stuff, but it's almost voyeuristic. It's weird. We all want to see that stuff. Sex and violence. They say the sex sells. It's true. Look at old beer ads. Look at those Carl's Jr. ads. How many hamburgers did they sell? Or that more recently, those commercials with what's her name in them? That Sydney Sweeney selling that soap. How much of that soap they sell because they got that chick in there? Come on. Yeah. Image. And that's probably the ultimate personification, because those guys were the ones who were doing it when they were at Marvel and DC. Look at Wildcats. Look at Savage Dragon. Look how big and muscular that dude is in that. Look at Youngblood. How unrealistically overly exaggerated the women are in those Youngblood books. It's something innate in us all. We want that. And then you see what happened as a result of those books. They sold a lot of books, and those guys became millionaires because they knew. They just didn't do it for the art. I mean, yeah, you do it for the art. You do it to make art. But they also did it to make money, and they know what makes money. They know what people want. That's the thing, too. You have to, if you're going to put something out like this in a comic book form, you have to be sure, will people want to read this? Look at all those failed campaigns and shit. And you look at those, I look at them, and I think, who's going to buy this? It's boring. It's lame. There's no pop to it. There's no energy. You don't need beautiful women in it. You don't need gore either. You just need something that's going to make people want to read it. If it is gore and sex and shit, then put it in, because people want to buy it. But that's the thing. I see these guys put out these books and they bitch and moan why their shit fails. Well, your stuff is boring. You don't hit that thing that's within each of us. You don't hit that thing that makes us want to watch those videos that are, those like the banned from TV, like those videos. If you remember those videos, you don't hit that thing that makes us want to watch that woman get hit by that train, or that guy who blows his head off in front of all those people. And then you see him, afterwards, of all the blood coming out of his nose and shit. You don't hit that. And you wonder why your books fail. don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of shit like this. You should be embracing it. Even if you're not making a book, if you're buying stuff like this, you should embrace it. Big Titty Sweeney. Well, why do you think she's popular? It's not because of her talent. She has none. she has an okay face with a great rack. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Geez, see, you got me all going. See, that's the thing. If I were to come on your show, I'd be doing this. Somebody would start me up, and I would just go. Maybe that's a good thing. Plus, I would also outdraw everybody too. So. Geez, how long have I been on? Oh, that's it. Huh. See, if I have more people watching me, I'll start talking. Because I'm usually quiet. I mean, I'm very quiet. If you ever were to meet me in person, I'm very quiet. But if you get me going on certain things, of course, humble pie. Fuck that shit. I'm awesome and I know it. That's the other thing too. I see these guys and they're just they're just too nice. You know, you look at someone like Ethan Van Sciver, he's arrogant as all shit. He thinks he's the greatest artist there around. He thinks Cyberfrog's like he thinks it's like, you know, the greatest comic book ever drawn. Or you look at Rob Liefeld, how he acts. You don't have enough people in this space that are arrogant. Like, yeah, fuck you, you know, that type. Malin's arrogant. Yeah. And then you look at look at the audiences they draw. But then again, you have to back it up. You just don't, oh, I'm the best. And then you just go, you know? Yeah, I am quiet. I am. Because I don't have anybody to talk to. But you know, off screen, I'm very quiet. And that's one of the big criticisms of me. Like, you're too quiet. You never seen, like, how many times I hear that? I've always been quiet. And it's probably because everybody else was so loud. Couldn't get a word in edgewise. see here. Well, thank you. There's always one. From one will become many. You're right about that. But those guys are assholes. I mean, they're real assholes. Go look at Rob Liefeld's history. Go look at Ethan's history. I mean, we think they just got rid of him because he's a conservative and he voted for Trump and he voted for Bush. No, a lot of it's because he burned a lot of bridges. He's a dick. The thing is, he could back it up. And Liefeld, too. That's the thing. Look at all the famous rock bands that ever been. I always, for some reason, I always go back to music because I listen to a lot of music and I read up on it. And I noticed that the biggest rock bands around, like the tippity top, like Van Halen and Motley Crue and a bunch of others, they're assholes. Ozzy Osbourne, they're all assholes. David Lee Roth is a huge asshole. Tommy Lee's a huge asshole. They're all assholes. But they backed it up. That's the thing. Now, some of it's like a put on. A lot of it isn't. And I think it's maybe because people like assholes. They like the abrasiveness. And they're unapologetic about it too. That's the thing. You don't apologize. You're somebody who's apologizing. I kind of question that. Don't apologize. Especially now. That's the thing. We have too many people apologizing. Stop that shit. Oh, I'm sorry for saying that. Oh, I'm sorry for doing this. No, fuck that shit. Don't ever apologize. Yes, exactly. Dennis Leary, Sam Kinison, George Carlin. Yeah, it just, I don't know why that is. It's like you have to be like a peacock. No one pays attention to timid people. It doesn't matter if you're good or not, whoever you're doing. You have to be arrogant. I remember listening to interviews with Freddie Mercury, and he would talk about that. Off stage, it was known that he was a very nice man, but on stage, and he would talk about it, like you have to become arrogant on stage because you have to make yourself 1,000 feet tall, even for the people in the back, because you're only so small on that stage, and you have to make yourself big. And you have to be arrogant. You have to make yourself bigger. Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden talked about that too. I have to make myself 1,000 feet tall. That's why you see him. He's jumping around. He's doing all this shit. Same thing with comics. You can't just and I come back to these campaigns that failed. You wonder why your shit fails. You're not a rock star, or you don't act like one. And that's apparent in a lot of these guys' stuff. You have to be a rock star. You have to go. You have to be like you're going to go on stage and blow everybody away. What the hell? People outside firing fireworks. Not me. God. Yeah, you have to make yourself bigger than what you appear. In these failed campaigns, they don't do that. That one dork. There's actually two. That Richard Embry guy who just canceled that one thing he started. He only made like $1,000 on it. You talk about boring, lame, schmucky. And you see him on these live streams like, dude, you're giving away your entire plot. You just go on these long, droning pitches for for this boring, lame book. What? Hold on. Anyway, something just came up. Nothing big. Where was I? Oh yeah. You look at that guy, and he just goes on these droning rants about his book, and it makes you not want to go buy the book. Like, you want me to buy your book? You're boring. You're lame. Then you go look at old interviews with Ozzy Osbourne or David Lee Roth. They're always, going. And they can back it up. They can back it up with their music and their stage presence. These guys wonder. You suck. You have to be a rock star, and it frustrates me because that's what this space is mostly being populated with. You would think guys would look at Comicsgate's example, and see what they do, but they don't. Even if you've never done it before, you should be seeing that as an example, and you should be following it. Okay. All right, I'll see you around. And that was Omer. And Omer has a channel. And you go check it out. He does live streams mostly, and he has some buddies come on and do their stuff. So check him out. Whenever he's on. He's on every Wednesday. And then some other days too. What the hell? People just firing off the river. Fireworks they have left from the previous week. God. Boy. Ever dealt with them, of course. That's past comment from Omer. Well, Omer's gone, so. How long have I been on? An hour or something. What time is it? Yeah. I think that'll be it for now. Unless someone comes on. That'll be something. Someone comes on at the last minute. Right before I stop. Yeah, I'm done. So anyway. This is what I've been doing. Inking this. For the past hour. Yeah, past hour now. So I'll try and come back maybe tomorrow and do another stream. Part 2 and do a little bit more. Finish this part and then go out into this guy's hand and do some of the background. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you all around.